friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this week's vlog. I'm very excited to be reading some spooky books, but first, before we talk about what I'm currently reading or what I have been reading over the past couple of days, I thought we could go over what I got at the library. As you saw, I did some errands and one of those included going to the library, and I always get a little bit distracted by the fantasy section. But first, the book that I actually went there for, My Vampire Plus One. I tried to read the first book in this series and I didn't get very far into it, but I'm optimistic about this one. I've heard really great things about the hero being a little bit of like a kooky guy. So I think this is like fake dating. She brings Reggie, who's the vampire, to a wedding sort of situation, and I hope it's a lot of fun. But this is what I went to get, and then I ended up getting 8 other books. So we'll just go through them. First up is a book that's a new release, I think, and I haven't heard anything about it, but it's blurbed at the top by Travis Boldry, and it's I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons, and it looks super cute. I am very intrigued by the cover. It seems like it's just about dragons and fairy tales and stuff. So I'm excited for this one. I'm hoping that it is as delightful as the cover appears. Then we have a new release from Jessa Maxwell. I never told you, I need you to read this. Wow, that I really struggled with that one. This is the same author that wrote Golden Spoon, which I read a couple of months ago and enjoyed. That one was more of like a Great British Bake Off sort of situation with like a murder mystery. This seems to be about a woman who moves to New York City and gets a job as a newspaper advice columnist. Next, we have Lady Macbeth. I have heard very mixed things about this. I know a lot of people really love this author, but this one seems to be a little bit polarizing for people. But this cover, again, is absolutely stunning, and it's gorgeous, haunting, and dark. So obviously it's a Lady Macbeth story, so I'm excited for this one. I do have something else by Ava Reid on my TBR to read eventually, but I'll probably be reading this first. Next, we have Immortal Longings. I have read Chloe Gong's most popular series, These Violent Delights. Yeah, I read the first one and that one. I liked it okay, but this one seems to be like her adult fantasy debut, so I'm hoping that this is a good one. Then we have Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I have tried to read Nevernight. Good gravy, my memory is not there today. I have tried to read Nevernight. I didn't try that hard, to be honest. I kind of gave up like 50 pages in, but this is a vampire story and I'm excited to read it. So we'll see how I like this one. We have Black Leopard Red Wolf. This is something that I have tried, I've picked up to read several times, and I just never have given it a shot. I've heard it's very, very weird. And it's myth, fantasy, and history merged in this stunning novel following a mercenary in his search for a missing child. Again, I've heard it's very weird. This is another one that I have picked up several times intending to read and never do, and it's The City We Became. I absolutely loved the 5th season. It's one of my favorite fantasies, and I know this is more for people that are in love with New York, but I still want to give it a shot. N.K. Jemisin's writing is gorgeous, so I'm excited for this one. I do, of course, have all of the books on my KU TBR and my Everand that I still want to read this month, but some of these are due back like within 2 weeks, so I definitely need to be reading them as well. But I thought I could talk about the things that I've been reading since I ended my last vlog up till now. Mostly just like some notable mentions and some books that I didn't enjoy but have been popular, so I wanted to like give my opinion on as I'm reading the popular dark fantasy romances or whatever on Kindle Unlimited. Ended last week's vlog reading Phantasma. I didn't get much further in. I think when I updated that vlog, I was like 200 pages in. I think I got to like 250 or 260, and I ultimately decided to set it down. I talked at length in my last vlog about why I struggled with this novel, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but I didn't love really any part of the story. It was reminiscent of Caraval and Cara Maniscalco. However, the same issues that I had with those stories, I also have with this one, where nothing really feels fleshed out, and it's hard to grasp onto the characters and find something that I want to continue reading about with them. Nothing about the world was super interesting and intriguing. It didn't feel very well thought out. And then another book that I have DNF'd between now and then is Tethered. This is another popular fantasy romance that you can read on Kindle Unlimited, and this also has very, very bad reviews. I say also, Phantasma doesn't have the best reviews, but I would say Tethered has even worse. Like, all of my friends have given it 1 or 2 stars. It has a very low rating, but it's a vampire romance, and so I try to like reserve my opinions for like dark romances, because there tends to be topics involved that people just don't like, and so they'll go in, read it in the book, and like give it a bad rating, not necessarily because the book itself is bad, but because they don't like that trope exists in the book or whatever. So I kind of went in reserving my judgment, and I got again about 200 pages in, 50% of the way through, and yeah, it was not good. I understand the 1 to 2 rating. This is basically about a woman who's a human, and she gets through an alliance between her kingdom and the hero's kingdom. They form an alliance and they have to get married, and during the marriage ceremony, the queen of the vampire kingdom forces them to also bond, which basically is just like a blood tie. And then they also end up getting tethered, which basically means that their like life forces are just completely intertwined. All of that sounds very cool, vampire romance, whatever, forced marriage, whatever, kind of fun. The largest issue with this is the pacing. I read 200 pages, and a lot of that, I would say 150 pages was just one prolonged conversation that should have taken 30 pages, but kept getting interrupted over and over and over and over again, and purposeful issues of miscommunication in an attempt to like make it almost cliffhangery in the middle of the book and like build the suspense. But it was just really frustrating. I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of the story, and once we found out what the tethering was and like what the ramifications are, we still just got scenes of them throwing fits with each other. They both really acted very childishly. They both were just not communicating very well, and it wasn't like in a miscommunication way. It was in like a, these characters are immature and I don't like reading their arguments kind of way. And the hero had this like reputation of being like the Lord of Darkness, but nothing about him was very believable. He was like secretly a softie. He had the reputation because he wanted people to be fearful of him or whatever, but he was neither scary or like soft. He was just kind of there, and then he would have random freakouts of anger towards the heroine for like things that had nothing to do with her, and simultaneously she was doing the same thing, would go off on him about how unfair it is for her and how he's not struggling at all, despite them having zero communication and zero conversations about what this is. And like, she knows that he was forced into this dynamic as well. And so yeah, I didn't like this one. The fact that we had 200 pages of one conversation things that should have been resolved in 30 pages at the most was the most frustrating part, and I just didn't feel like the story was going anywhere. I don't mind a slower story, but I need to feel like something is happening. I need to feel like the gears in the minds of the characters or in the back of the plot are turning, and I just didn't feel like the author knew what the plot line of the story was going to be and how they wanted to get the story there, how to progress the story. And she wanted to build tension in the relationship, but there wasn't really any tension because they pretty much immediately were like into each other, and they're very like touchy-feely, and there just wasn't any stakes, any tension, any like moving of the plot, any progressing of the relationship. The world was not that interesting. I didn't enjoy it. So unfortunately, I also decided to DNF that one. I thought about pushing through. I only had like 193 pages or 200 pages left of it, but no, I DNF'd it. But I did end up starting a regular like contemporary witchy romance. I started it this morning and I am 20% of the way through. It's called Spookily Yours. It's pretty short. It's only 229 pages in, or 229 pages. It's about a woman who lives in a small town called Pleasant Grove or something like that. This is basically a town that has been sequestered from humans, and like witches and ghouls and stuff live there, and it's like a small town. When I was reading it, I was picturing like Halloween Town was kind of the energy that it was giving, and the heroine runs a cafe with her sister and a bakery. It's like a bakery cafe, and she like lives in this small town, and she has a sister that she's really close with, and that's like her whole life. But recently she lost her familiar, and so she's just kind of floating through life. She doesn't really know where she wants her life to go. She doesn't really have any like big goals and aspirations, and she ends up deciding to adopt another cat as a familiar. And so she goes to the shelter and she sees a black cat there that she immediately connects with, and she takes him home. And then we flip to the hero's point of view, and he is the cat. He's actually a demon that has been cursed by a witch to turn into a cat and be stuck in a cat's body. And he enlists the help of the heroine to reverse the curse before he gets stuck in the cat body permanently. It's not a crazy plot, it's not crazy writing or anything like that, but it just has this like comforting, slow, casual, quiet feeling to it that I'm really enjoying. The writing is just the right level of understated, and I immediately fell into the world without needing to like be 100% on board with the characters themselves, and I'm liking it. It has all of the fall energy, the Halloween energy. I probably am going to be focusing on that for the rest of the day, and then we'll talk about it when I'm done. But other than that, I don't really have a ton going on this week aside from trying to read the spooky romances that I have on my TBR for the month. So other than that, we're just gonna do our usual, take the days as they come and see what happens. So I am gonna get back to reading, and we'll talk when I have some thoughts, or tomorrow, or whenever. I'm talking about videos and all of these predatory practices. Wednesday, friends. I just finished a workout, so if I'm a little bit sweaty and gross looking, that would be why. I didn't update yesterday, and I didn't really do much yesterday because we had Lorcana. We tend to do it every Tuesday. We did that. It was a long night. I got third, which was nice. I haven't done that well since we had a big tournament a couple months ago. I just haven't been playing my very best. I was playing a deck that I didn't love. Anyway, that's irrelevant, but that avenue of my hobbying is going very well. We have a tournament this weekend as well on Sunday at my favorite card shop. They have tons of very cute plushies. They're where I got the Plague Doctor plushie and my Christmas bat plushie. So I'm hoping that they have a ton of cute ones. And maybe I'll reward myself for winning if I win and console myself if I lose with one. We'll see. We'll see what they have. Yesterday, like I said, I didn't do much, just preparing for that tournament. I also did a big workout yesterday, and I probably shouldn't have done the one that I did today. Yesterday, I did like a full body strength training, and then today I did a Pilates with weights. And it might have been a little bit too much for me because I'm still sore from yesterday. So it is what it is. I got through it, I did it, and I am out the other side. But it is 2 o'clock and I need to do some laundry. But the only other thing aside from laundry that I need to do is cook dinner. I have a couple of recipes saved that I want to do that I think will be good, but just lazy. You know, having to cook for yourself as an adult is like the biggest scam ever, in my opinion. So, but I'm gonna do that later. But in the meantime, I think I'm gonna try to watch some Twitch and read a little bit. I have not had the best luck with books. I finished Spookily Yours. Did I tell you guys about that? Yeah, I finished Spookily Yours. I finished it on Monday, maybe? Monday night. Liked this. I thought it was cute. I tend to have a problem with romances like this where it's kind of like not really a lot going on. She had already solved the hero's cat curse problem by like 30%. So the rest of the novel, while it was short, was like them doing stuff together and like falling in love, which is just a wee bit boring. So it wasn't my perfect book, and I kind of wish that we had gotten more of like the Sabrina vibes for a little bit longer, but I liked it. I thought it was cute. And I also read volume 1 of Didn't You Say You Hate Me. This is a manga about a girl who gets put in an arranged marriage with a duke, and they settle on his estate, and at first he's not really interested in having a relationship with her. Like, they're married kind of in name only. He disappears from the estate, and she's like very excited about this. This is like her dream. She wants to run an estate and not have to be with a man. Relatable. And so she kind of has everything that she wants. Like, she has the estate, she has the servants, she has her own little garden, she's crocheting, just like living the dream. And she's super nice to the tenants and the staff, and it gets back to the hero that she's like this great person, and he's like, okay, maybe I do want a relationship with her. So he goes back to the estate and is like, I want to be your husband, like, actually, and I want you to be my wife, like, actually. And she's like, no, I don't want that. So that was the first volume. That's really just like all the first volume entailed, and I like it. I think it's cute. I definitely am going to continue. I don't know if Comixology has the entire series, but I will certainly be checking that out at some point. I haven't really been reading a ton, haven't really been in the mood to read. A lot of like cozy games are getting the Halloween things going on, so I've been like focusing on that really, aside from like Lorcana and stuff. So chances are I'm going to watch Twitch, try to read a little bit, and maybe play some Dreamlight Valley, but don't have a lot going on this week except the Lorcana tournament, so I take my wins when I can get them. Happy Thursday evening, friends. It is 6:30. And I have spent the entire day working on a new journaling system. So I do this thing every couple of months where I decide that I'm going to become a journaler. I get the journal, I set it up, I do the thing, and then it lasts like 2 days, a week, or 2 weeks at most, and it never can stick around. And so I'm trying to change that because it's a beautiful creative outlet for me and a great place for me to store my memories and look back on. I've discovered a new way of journaling that I think fits me. I was inspired by Megan Rhiannon, a lovely YouTuber here on the platform who does like journaling content and vlogs and stuff. They do a Filofax system. They also have like a bunch of different types of journals, I think. And I also got the idea to do digital journaling and then print out the pages and put them in the Filofax. So that's what I'm gonna do. I use Canva. I'm going for like a newspaper sort of vibe. I'll pop some of my spreads on the screen for what I'm comfortable sharing, but it's kind of just gonna be like creative outlet for everything. I'm gonna have like daily pages, but I also am going to have spreads about like my mental health and things that pop into my head and things that I might be trying to work out in my brain, but I need a creative outlet to work it out. So I'm gonna try that way. I talked about it with my therapist in therapy today, and I got some ideas for things that I could do, and I'm very excited about it. I got some A5 paper and clear Filofax binder situation. We're gonna give that a shot. We're gonna try it out. I'm pretty excited. I like the theme that I have going and the pages that I have going, and we'll see how it goes. I am very much one of those people that wants to be perfect at everything as soon as I start it, and I also want everything to be sustainable, especially when it comes to hobbies, especially when it comes to things I'm spending money on. And so I definitely go into new hobbies feeling like I'm a failure or I'm gonna fail things, and I'm very hard on myself if things don't work out. So for example, if you look over here, I currently have 3 journals. Now 2 of them were from boxes, like from book boxes, so they were like bookish merch and stuff. But then I also have a Hobonichi cousin that I purchased at the beginning of the year. Hobonichis are not cheap, but they had this sort of setup that I felt like would work for me, and then it didn't work. I used it for, I think, 3 months in total, like January to March, and then I just stopped using it and I went back to Notion. Notion is where I plan pretty much everything in my life. I don't have a super busy life. I pretty much just go to work and come home and do content creation and read and that kind of stuff, as you guys probably could tell at this point. So stuff like the Hobonichi just doesn't really work for me because I don't have a lot of stuff to plan. But I think this new journaling style is really free, but I don't have to worry about like my handwriting being ugly, or like buying stickers, or like doing inserts and stuff, because I'm not designing any of that by hand. I can't draw, my handwriting is terrible. And I'm not good at like writing and like changing fonts and like writing styles and drawing cute little stuff, but I want my journal to look good. And so that's always been part of the issue with bullet journaling. Like bullet journaling is great because it's really whatever you need it to be, but the creative aspect of it has always stumped me. I've tried for many years to just do a reading journal, and it never worked. Freedom, but also the digital aspect of it allows me to get pictures offline of like TV shows and stuff without having to print it and waste paper printing it. I'm just printing the one page, and it also allows me to like change up the font, move stuff around, and it just is a lot more freeing. I have the Canva app on my phone, so I can do like a journal page wherever I am. I can get it on my iPad, I can do it on my iPad. So I think digital journaling is the way to go. I feel like this is a good move in the journaling department, and just focusing on it today, I've literally been doing it for hours. I think I started it at like 9:30 and I just stopped maybe like 20 minutes ago. So I've been doing it all day. It's been completely just consuming my mind, and it's been a good creative outlet. I've already worked on 2 of the things that I discussed in therapy that I wanted to do, and I think it's just a good outlet for me, and I'm happy that I found it. And even if it doesn't work permanently long term, that's not to say that I can't change things or that it won't come back around and be a good fit for me later on. So that's what I've been doing all day, really. I've just been focusing on getting that all set up and like figuring out what I want it to look like. But I did do some reading yesterday. I started A Dark and Drowning Tide, as you guys probably saw. This edition is absolutely stunning. I love the naked hardcover as well. It's a sapphic romance, which I didn't realize when I got the book in the book box, but it's a sapphic romance. It's a fantasy. I read this author's other really popular work from this year. It's like an enchantment of threads or something to do with threads. And I didn't love it, but I'm excited to give this author another shot. Their writing is pretty nice. I am 40 pages in. We've basically just been introduced to our 2 main characters, Lorelai and Sylvia. They are academic rivals, and they're part of this like elite group that has been set on an expedition by the king to find this like mythical spring that has powers that the king wants to harness. It seems like people only have like water magic. I haven't seen discussions of anything else, but there's like nixies and sirens and stuff in this world, so I'm definitely interested in it so far. Like I said, it's an absolutely stunning book, so I'm excited to see how it is. I'm gonna continue reading it and we'll see how I feel about it. I'm excited that it's a sapphic romance. Again, I didn't know that. For the remainder of the night, I am probably going to read until my partner gets home, and then I don't know. We'll probably talk again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. And so, you know, my typical Friday chilling, cozying up routine. So I am 78 pages into A Dark and Drowning Tide. And I feel like I understand the story a little bit more, and I feel like I can give some background or some updates about what it's about. First of all, I'm completely and utterly obsessed with this naked hardcover, and I'm so excited to display this on my shelf. It is about 6 or 7 people who are going on an expedition to find this like mythical, magical location that is going to give the king the power to keep his kingdom under his control. At this 70, 80 pages, we have seen the crew come together. They're on the ship, they're traveling, and the main character's longtime mentor and kind of role model is found dead. And the only person that could have accessed her office where she was killed is the 6 of them. So It's a little bit of a fantasy, a little bit of a mystery, and I'm pretty intrigued. I didn't realize that it was going to be a mystery. One of my favorite things is a good juicy mystery, so I'm pretty excited to see where the story goes. The writing style, I would say, is pretty different than the first book that I read by this author. I listened to the audiobook, and so obviously the reading experience is a little bit different, but this writing is a lot more like prosy, a lot more purple, which I'm not necessarily hating. I think it fits the vibe of the story very well, and it just wouldn't, this writing style wouldn't have fit the other story quite as well, but overall I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm like head over heels in love with it, but now that we've had this like mystery plot line, I'm definitely more invested. I have been spending the day, I played Disney Dreamlight Valley for like several hours today, and I was just watching other stuff, Twitch, stuff like that, so I haven't done a ton of reading, but it's like 8 o'clock now, Friday night. I think I'm gonna settle in and do some reading. I fell asleep to Over the Garden Wall last night, and I ended up finishing it accidentally. To go back and watch the last couple of episodes. So I guess I could give an update on what I'm thinking of the show. I think I briefly mentioned that I started it, but I really liked it. So I think overall it's like 6 episodes, but each episode has 2 chapters in it, and they're like little stories of these 2 boys trying to find their way back home, and they're in this like mystical woods, and they're running into these different types of creatures with like different backstories, and they're solving like little problems. I see why it's such a comfort show for a lot of people. It's definitely odd. It has the same feeling as like Courage the Cowardly Dog, where it's very eerie and weird and odd, but it also is very comforting in a weird way. That's how it feels. This is a Cartoon Network show, so that makes sense, but I really like it. I can see myself revisiting it time and time again, especially in the fall. I've included some clips, so obviously you can tell if you haven't already watched it yourself that like this is a very fall inspired story. Lots of pumpkins, leaves, creepy woods, like all of that kind of energy, and I really appreciate it. So that's gonna be what I do for the rest of the night. I'm going to get really into the story and see how I'm feeling, and then I'm probably gonna end the night watching those last couple episodes. So that's it. I had a lovely day. I really enjoyed just gaming. I find the days where I just allow myself to game for hours on end is very nice, and I always try to stop myself before I get like too over it, because I find that I'll game a certain game for like days straight and then I won't play it again for like 6 months, and I want to be into Disney Dreamlight Valley at least for the rest of the year, because I want to see the fall and winter changes, like the things that they do. Like I want to do the Halloween event, I want to do the Christmas event, all of that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of like cool furniture and stuff and decorations for the island that I want to have the recipes for, and I have to play to do that. So, but I have enjoyed the day, and I'm not like done with it. There's a ton of characters that I can up my friendship level on and like get quests and stuff, so I just have a lot of content left in the game to do, which is very exciting. I think part of the reason that I haven't been playing the game consistently is because I got it in early access, and for that first couple of months to a year, there wasn't a ton of characters, and so once you got your character and the other characters to max, there wasn't a ton to do, but they've been adding characters over time, and so I have a solid list of characters that I need to build their friendship levels with. But that's neither here nor there. For the rest of the night, I'm going to, like I said, read my book, finish Over the Garden Wall, and we'll probably talk tomorrow.
Blue dew, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue?
Happy Saturday. I got a decent bit last night. If this is at an angle, we're just gonna deal with it. I got a decent bit of the way through A Dark and Drowning Tide last night. I am on page 140. Same feelings as I was having before. Pretty good. I'm intrigued. They're kind of just trying to solve the mystery of who killed her mentor. But I was reading this last night and I got tired, but I still wanted to read, but I couldn't hold up a book anymore, so I started Metal Slinger. I got 25 pages in. I had never heard of this before. It just got recommended to me on my, like, you might enjoy this sort of page. And so I added it to my KU list. I decided to pick it up after having picked up some other books that didn't work. Naval officer or naval person, and they're trying to steal from this other kingdom and they get caught in opening chapter. I don't know exactly what the story is about. I have heard 0 people talk about it, but it's very accessible. The writing is very easy to get into, and so I probably am going to continue it at some point. I don't know how like dark and horror-y it is. I don't even know if it necessarily is. It might just be a regular old romantasy. Actually, I don't even know if it is a romance. So I don't know anything about it. All I know is that I've started it and we'll see how it goes. I yesterday used this hair product that I have had for a while and I used for a little bit and then didn't really keep up with, but it was the Curl-La-La Defining Curl Custard and the Coconut OGX, I think. Also started doing skincare. So ever since I started working out, I've had a lot of breakouts and I want to not do that. I have not been historically someone that gets a lot of acne. Didn't even really when I was a teenager. I usually get it around my period, but that's pretty much it. And since I've been working out and sweating, I've been getting acne. So I decided, since I don't plan to stop working out anytime soon, I actually like need to start taking care of my skin. So I don't know how I feel about this stuff for my curls. I don't really like how it leaves my hair feeling. It's supposed to be like a leave-in, but my hair feels kind of, I might have just used too much product. Like I need to get used to it, but I don't love how it feels. Feels very like, almost like I have gel in it, which I don't love. So we'll see if I continue to use it. These are like the shape that my curls naturally take. I let them air dry and they just dry down like this, which I like. So I don't know if like additional product is really needed, but, and then the face seems to be going well. I use a cleanser, a moisturizer, and then I used Aquaphor last night. First day doing it, so I'll let you know how it goes. I'm not a big skincare person, don't really know much about it. I just looked up affordable options that had good reviews and here we are. So we'll see how it goes. The first thing I'm gonna do is update my digital journal from yesterday. I didn't do like my day spread last night, and then I probably am going to read a little bit. I also wanna start actually journaling. This is a journal that I've had for years and years and years. I got it from Barnes & Noble when I was in like high school, and I've tried to use it several times. I've like ripped pages out of old journal entries, and I want to try using it again. If you're autistic or have ADHD and you recommend a journaling style, I would love to know. I would love for you to leave it down below. If you have something that like is a free-flowing journal style that actually works for you, not like a bullet journal or like a planner or anything like that, actually journaling your thoughts, I would love to know. I also do need to do my crossword and my Sudoku for the day, so we're gonna do that. Lots of stuff, lots of cool stuff, lots of relaxing stuff to do.
Bluetooth, that move, sort of with don't